Our next question looks at real-life graphs, and specifically we have a distance-time graph. Time always is on the bottom, distance as always is going up the side here. So we have a description here. Elliot went for a cycle ride. He left home at 10 a.m. The graph represents the part of Elliot's cycle ride that is recorded here. Not all of it, just part of it. We're going to finish that off partway through the question. So the first thing we need to figure out is how many minutes did Elliot rest for? So if he's resting, his distance is not changing. It's staying the same distance away from home. So I'm going to look on my graph for where distance is not changing. All the way through here it's changing. Oh, here it stops. And then it stays the same. It flatlines for a little bit and then he starts up again. So that's going to be our rest period right there. To figure out the time for that, we are going to take our graph and we are going to draw two nice straight lines using our rulers down to the x-axis. That way we can read our graph very accurately and we can tell exactly where he stops. So this one's a bit difficult because it looks like it stops about halfway through a box there. We're going to have to figure out what that's worth. So the one time here is 11. The next time here looking is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes in, 8, 9, 10 boxes. So there's 10 boxes between 11 and 12 noon. There's 60 minutes in between 11 and 12. So 60 divided by 10, that gives us roughly 6 minutes for every box. Now we've covered 7 boxes, so that's going to be roughly 6:42 because 6 times 7 gives you 42. So he rests for about 42 to possibly 45 minutes because if you remember, our line is partway through that box right there. Just recapping that. So to find our scale, we count up how many boxes are between 11 and 12. Because we know that there are 60 minutes in an hour, we can take that 60 and divide it by how many boxes we have to figure out how many minutes each box is worth. So that's what we did here. 60 divided by 10 gave us 6. And then because we know it was 7 boxes over, we're going to do 6 times 7. That gives us roughly 42. Now these questions, because you are reading off the graphs, there's a bit of lenience in them. So if you wrote probably anywhere from 42 to 45, you would probably get the answer there. So the next question, how far from home was Elliot at 12:30? So on my graph, I'm going to pick out where that middle box is, and I am going to just draw a line up from 12:30 here to my graph to figure out where that distance is. So here's the line. I'm going to draw it up as straightly as possible. And that meets up nicely with a box there. I'm just going to bring that across and I can already see that's going to be roughly at 16. There we go. So down here, I can say that he was 16 miles away from home. He was 16 miles away. So then we have a bit further to go here. Question C here. We're given a bit of a description about Elliot's trip. It says at 1:15, Elliot stopped for 30 minutes. Then he cycled home at a steady speed, and it took him 1 hour and 45 minutes to get home. Complete the travel graph. So we're going to start where 1:15 is. Oh, here's 1:15 on our graph here. It says after 1:15, Elliot stopped for 50 minutes. If you remember, stop looks like this horizontal line. So for 30 minutes, we're going to draw a horizontal line from that point there. 30 minutes is going to take us roughly to 1:45. So halfway through my boxes here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a quick line up, make sure my lines are straight. Keep an eye on where that is. And then I'm going to make sure my line is actually horizontal. So straight across, my distance isn't changing. There we go. So on my graph here, this point is going to be 23 up. and over at 1:45. You don't have to put the point on. The point helps me know exactly where that is so that you can help yourself there. Then it says it took him 1 hour and 45 minutes to get home. So this time here we discovered was 1:45. If it takes him another hour and 45 minutes, another hour is going to lead us to 2:45. And then 15 minutes after that gives us 3 o'clock. And then another 30 is going to give us 3:30. Let's just make sure I counted that up right. So 1 hour brings us from 1:45 to 2:45. And then we have 45 minutes after that. So 15 plus 30 gives us 45. There's our end goal right here. He's traveling at a steady rate. So that means that from here to here, we have a straight line and we just connect the 2 points like that. That would give you the full marks for that question right there. Once again, if you want, you can label this point. This is 3:30, 0, but it is not absolutely necessary. Lovely.